SideCats Podcast, episode number 7. I'm your host, as usual, Jacob. I'm going to change it up on you this time. Joining me, as usual, is Brandon.
Hey, what's going on?
Another guest with us this week, Austin. How are you?
What's up? How you doing?
Coming back.
And another guest, my boy Charles. How are you?
I'm good, man.
Episode 7. If you didn't watch episode 6 last week, there's a little eye in the corner. You can click on that and watch it there. Or you can find it yourself because you're doing whatever you want to do. Nothing else really to get off the top here. I think we have everything covered as usual. Like, comment, subscribe, follow. The Twitter's in the description. That's about it. But we have our two returning guests, Charles and Austin.
Both the same
Hey, name
time.
change?
At the same time.
Same damn time.
I wanted to have me and Brandon. We were talking a few weeks ago about our middle school. We had a couple middle school stories,
Oh, boy.
so I thought we could get some high
Middle
school
school, high
stories.
school.
Middle school, high school. We all went to the same middle school and high school together.
Oh, boy.
Can I tell the story of how I was assaulted by an old lady today?
We can get to that because I did want to talk about that.
That wasn't in high school or middle school. Shut up.
What was I gonna say? Where we went to high school, things were a little bit wild.
Why was
per
that?
se. Why was that?
That's a good question.
Give me a freaking reason.
You wouldn't put it because of a certain group of people, would you?
Oh my
I know I
God.
wouldn't. I know I wouldn't.
Yeah, it's
Jesus
usually
Christ.
the DH versus Clifton affair. Clifton people were a little wild.
Clifton. That's my home.
It's my home.
Our middle school, the high school experiences weren't very different. It's mostly the same crowd, except it mixed the two middle schools together to form one of the larger high schools in Pennsylvania.
The largest piece of crap.
I would call it more of a shit show than a piece of crap.
Let this
It was a war zone.
A war zone at times. It could be. We'll start at the beginning of high school. I told this story on the podcast a couple weeks ago with you, Brandon. But freshman year of high school,
Fuck!
me and
Sorry.
shut up.
Oh, we
Me-
have the man in here though.
Yeah, me and Chuck had an interesting table
Oh my god.
freshman year. Do you remember pouring the Reese's on the Cosmic Brownie
Yeah.
and slamming the...
Yeah, that kid.
I don't even remember what he looked like.
I frightened the kid away from the table. Is essentially what happened. Like he sat down next to I think me, and I was like,
I couldn't remember.
I said, "Schnall, I don't really want you sitting next to me." I didn't really like him, and I didn't want to say it because I was a timid ninth grader. So what I did was use my actions instead of my words, and smash my head into a cosmic brownie to get him away from me. And let me tell you, it worked. It worked.
That kid was gone.
He never came back again to our table. So
Can
effective.
I
yes.
ask who this kid was?
I don't remember at all.
Who the fuck knows? Yeah, how many people I saw at school that I don't even like. I literally like, oh, that's a new person in my school. Fuck, I've never seen this person in my life.
You saw a
Never
new
saw
person
him
every
again.
day. Every day you would see someone new.
Here's a good question. From me. What would you have done if he did come back?
If he came back,
What
I
was
would
your
be
next plan of
I would be
action?
more afraid of him if he came back.
I'd probably
Why
been-
would you?
Probably would have thought about something more
You have
diabolical.
to report him to the police for being a because it's the only reason somebody would come back from, like... So you're telling me you want to be friends with somebody who slams their head into a fucking cosmic brownie?
I'd want to
Yes.
be friends with me.
I am friends.
Yeah,
No, but I mean, like,
I
if
would-
you don't know them other than that, like, you have to be a fucking psychopath to want to be friends with somebody like that.
You have to be a psychopath to sit down at a lunch table with people you don't know and just be like, "Hey,
yeah,
guys,
it was already
like,
a
you're
weird
a psych-
situation from the start.
you're a weirdo. You are not welcome."
Stick with your people.
Oh, whoa.
Alright. I meant from like your school. Alright?
I really don't know what this kid's plan of action was. Like he came. I assume that was like his first day or something. because it didn't look like he had any friends. He sat down at that table, had an enthralling experience, to say the least.
My question was, did he buy his lunch or did he bring it from home?
I think he bought it because he sat down late.
He bought that, John.
And he didn't talk.
I don't think so.
Nope, he would just look over occasionally.
Do you remember...
just so happened to look over when I smashed my head into a brownie.
Anyway.
Anyway.
You remember who else used to sit at that table? Like, I'm just asking if you do or not. Like,
No. My memory is hazy from all the drugs I do.
Alright.
The one person I want to talk about that sat there was the person who sat next to me, Mr.
Oh my god.
He would come to our table every day and just sleep. Like, I'm pretty sure he was asleep during this situation too.
Wakes up to
Yeah.
He woke up
Did you
Chuck
ever have-
slamming his head on the table.
Did you ever have come to your table rolling that dollar bill with his crusty ass fingernails?
Who knows?
Probably.
Genuinely.
He was
Work
always
out.
rolling something. Like,
Jesus Christ.
like,
Whoa, that sounds like a drug reference.
usually a dollar bill.
He was interesting. He's always been a weird person.
Whoa.
All up.
I'm censoring his name, but so we can talk trash about him.
I'd rather keep
Oh.
the names uncensored and then at them in the.
I feel like since
But
you're talking about what he was doing, he's gonna know anyway.
He won't
Because
find
who
this.
else do you know that just fucking rolls a dollar bill?
He won't find this. I'll be surprised if he does. That's why I'm kind of...
He'd come knocking at your door in about 2 weeks.
Yeah, okay, and I'll freaking call the police in 2 weeks.
He's gonna walk up to your dining room table and slam his head into a brownie.
call the police.
Chuck,
I'll
you know
call
where I
you.
live. You can
Lose
come
your
over
job.
here. Brandon, you can
I
come over
do
and
know
get
where
him
you
away.
live.
What's up?
You can come over and get him away from my house.
Yeah. Tell him there's a free basketball at my house. He'll come pick it up.
Oh my god. What's crazy is that I was actually going to say a basketball joke too. That's actually.
Yo, he's a baller, yo. He's going pro.
Ball up.
Chill.
Don't say it.
Sure.
That was an interesting experience that freshman year. That freshman year was kind of fun. That table was interesting, to say the least. But that wasn't our only table. Me and Chuck had, when we got to the bigger cafeteria side,
With the
We
big
had-
boys and girls
we had me,
and other.
you, and two other people that we don't got mentioned. But do you remember when a famous teacher from Upper Darby, Mr. Cupsey, decided to come around and start singing "Flock of Seagulls"?
Bro, that was absurd. That actually, like, I can't believe that was a real thing. Like, an authority figure came over to me and said, "Flock of seagulls, man." And in order to make fun of another student who was sitting at our table. Just think about that.
Who is it? Do you know who he
Who do
made
you
fun of?
who do you tell when the teacher bullies you? Who do you tell? No, like honestly.
Do you remember who he was making fun of?
Oh,
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
oh my goodness.
I'm gonna have to censor so much, but whatever.
You are.
I'll be even. No, that's a problem because somehow he will find this. I want to be surprised.
I who cares?
What is he even doing?
Who
He
knows?
works
All
at
these
Home
kids-
Depot.
So far, the kids that we've mentioned
Shit.
aren't doing anything. Does he really work there?
Yeah, I see him all the time because, I live at fucking Home Depot.
That's a solid job.
Austin makes his daily trip to Home Depot. Just to say hi to
Oh my God! Stop saying his name. Is he going to school? There's no way you would know.
I haven't talked to that kid since 7th grade. How
No,
the fuck am I supposed
Does
to
he
know that?
recommend
He was in my
the new wood to
photography
you?
class. He was in my photography
think
class.
Does he recommend?
He's going to college.
Oh, I know my wood very well.
Austin knows his wood.
He's going to college, Brandon.
Yeah, he was in my photography class.
Where is he? I guess for
Why don't we bring him into the Discord and ask him?
I got him
Prefer
on.
not to
I got him on
instantly get
BattleNet.
cancer.
I can hit him up.
Do you really
Just
have
ask
him
him
on
what's-
BattleNet?
Just ask him what school he's going to. He gives his answer, kick him out. Instant. Easy.
There's no way I would have him anywhere near this podcast. Since we did go to a wild high school, there were times where people would get into altercations with one another. Some physical contact.
I remember the first fight I saw at Upper Darby.
Go for it.
This big ass kid just dumped the kid into one of the wheelie trash cans and was just rolling him around the cafeteria for a half hour.
You could see it's funny when you know.
The teachers didn't even give a shit. Like, his legs were sticking out of the trash can, and the teachers just watched him roll him across the cafeteria.
You can tell you can tell like when a fight happened. Usually, because there would be like remnants of like weave just sitting on the floor. Be like, yeah, fifth lunch got a little crazy, you know.
Yeah, the hallways would also be much more of a clusterfuck than they usually are.
You would hear like the stomping of feet hustling down the hall.
It's like, oh shit, oh shit.
Is it bad that my first thought when I think about fights is that somebody recorded it in fucking portrait instead of landscape and they fucked up the video? Because that always pissed me off.
There was the one fight that was me and Chuck just missed this one too. It was like the biggest one we've had where like how many people got jumped. You know
I know all about that. That was all. I know
Don't say
about
the
that
names because that was like a criminal.
Most of the kids who were involved in that are like in jail. Like not because of that, but because of unrelated things. Because most of the kids involved in that, like that got beat the fuck up, were Clifton kids, and I know every one of them, and I know exactly why they got beat the fuck up. And I will not say that out loud because I ain't no snitch, nigga. Anyway, that was wild. There was probably 80 kids involved in that.
My goodness.
And about I think only 20 or so were Clifton kids.
That was filmed in vertical, and that was like on the news. That was like everywhere.
Yeah,
teachers were getting dragged, and
that was bad. A teacher got knocked the fuck out. A teacher got knocked the fuck out.
That was insane. Is there any other? I'm sure there's a lot.
How about the dude that got stabbed down at the McDonald's?
All right.
And then there was the fight at the shopping center where the kid got pistol whipped.
I know all of the people this happened to by name. Like, it's like absurd.
Yeah, I know. I used to talk to that kid, and then it's just like next day, oh, he's stabbed. I'm like, okay.
Oh, that's the other one. There was the.
But it's a good thing that our school's right next to a hospital. They all get treated immediately.
The hospital's about as much of a clusterfuck as our school is.
Yeah, the only reason they get any type of like patients is from our school.
Oh my god.
The other big fight within the 4 years that we went there, other than that, like the jumping, was when, remember the old trophy cases?
Oh my god.
Oh yeah, where the kid got smashed.
That was insane. That was like a 4-on-1. And all I remember is my gym teacher at the time comes hustling down the steps, like screaming, "Stop! Stop!"
Wait, who? That sounds like a comment.
No.
Was squared up.
Would have got knocked the fuck out with those rusty ass knees.
That's my woman. Don't talk shit on her. I love her. She was the goat.
That was my gym teacher. She had retired since then.
Oh, I think my class made that teacher retire.
She was.
Why does that not surprise me at all?
She's
weak.
weak.
My class sucked.
She's weak.
She's weak.
She's been teaching at UD for like 20 plus years and
she doesn't
has seen it all.
Yeah, that's why she has fucking severe PTSD. All the retarded shit she's seen.
Yeah, she's definitely seen some stuff.
Might as well have done a few tours in fucking Afghanistan at this point.
Should I include the videos? Like, if I could find them, should I put them in?
No.
Yes. Why the fuck not?
That'd be kind of funny. I can
That would
find.
be the bid.
They're all.
You could find some of the more high, the higher ones. Like the ones that made it on the news. At
World
least
Star.
you could find. World Star. Oh my god. I would love to see them on World Star. There was another fight. Oh my god, I just thought about where it pretty much resulted in Mr. Roth getting kicked in the nuts by some big one. A big girl kicked him in the balls, and I watched it happen. Oh my god.
When was
Like,
that?
this was a big woman. I think it was sophomore year that this happened. And ever since then, he was always considering resignation, and he finally did it.
Yeah, he finally did it.
He was principal for 4 years, and it's like, no.
Like,
It was our class. I was just
he's like, I'm sick of y'all.
Oh, if you think our class is bad, wait till next year's.
No, the year below them is a lot.
And they're not better at all. Even those are even worse.
It
literally goes downhill from here somehow. Pretty much, it's pretty low as it is. But
to be fair, we were downhill from the class previous as well. So.
Every year after one another is just worse.
And the millennials.
The millennials. One of the main music teachers is like, nah, and just left for Guam last summer. Like before we started this year, he's just like,
one?
Yes.
Nice.
Just right before the school. I don't know if like right before, but before this year started, he's like, nah, and just left and went to Guam.
Nah, it was last year.
I know it was last year, but I'm talking if it was right before the year or not.
Oh,
I don't know how long he knew he was gonna be doing that.
Senior year started.
Yeah. I had him for like one of his last classes of his last semester, and he's just like, yeah, nah.
Peace, dog.
Knee.
If I had to teach me, I'd be in Guam too.
Who's the weird ass teacher you had in the Photoshop class?
Oh.
That would. I swear to God.
Student.
I heard enough about this fucking
dude.
Fool.
He came out of the alcove in my engineering class and started serenading my fucking substitute one day.
Was it
he wants some
why?
ass.
Dude, it would have been amazing if it was Mish Puff. That would be amazing.
Who is this?
Mish.
Who?
Miss Puff.
This teacher?
Oh, I had him for
Wait, Miss, you don't know Miss Puff?
No,
oh wait,
I know Miss Puff.
He's talking about my teacher. I had him for
Mr. Davidson. He has a YouTube channel.
First of all, that's not his name. Second of all,
link in the description.
I'm not linking his YouTube channel. Wait, that'll be the intro music. That'll be the intro music. So,
I know who he's not. He's not over Steel Fields though.
Oh man, we'll get to her in a second. She's wild. But yeah, Mr. Don't worry about his last name. This was his first year. And pretty much I taught him the class he was supposed to be teaching us. It was like a pretty basic Photoshop Illustrator
our high
class.
school in a nutshell, though.
It was so bad. Literally, he did not know how to do anything. I ran that class. Like, Chuck, your brother turned in a picture of Harambe photoshopped on a Yu-Gi-Oh card in a waterfall with the text, "They come from the west,"
yeah.
on the side of the waterfall.
He showed that to me and thought it was the bid. I was like, really, I could do this.
I have it somewhere. Yeah, I think he got like 100 on it or something.
Wow.
Where is that? But Chuck, would you care to explain the lovely character Steel Fields?
Steel Fields, aka 9th grade honors prep English. First of all, brilliant woman.
None.
You know, she lived in the the days of the drugs, the 60s at that time. She was in a rock band. She told us how she used to do cocaine. She was a fucking nutter. The craziest story this woman ever told me, though. Like, she was in a public pool. Like, I'm not...
I was so mad. I wasn't here that day. She told
this is the most mental story. She told this to the entire classroom.
Here's the picture, by the way.
Yeah, that thing's AIDS.
This is a final project. This is a final project.
Oh my god.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, I remember this. From the West.
Alright, anyway. So, back to the public pools or wherever used to swim when she was young. She said she encountered a midget in the pool. Okay, a midget in the pool. So I was like, oh, that's cool. A small person, nothing wrong with that. And then she proceeds to say that the midget came up to her, approached her, and said, "I'll show you mine if you show me yours." Now, your first thoughts when you hear that, you're like, oh, well, what's that supposed to mean? But then again, Miss Beck looked at you like she was coked out. No, like that's like 90% of the time. But she looked at me Like, I was like, oh my god, she's talking about the midget was gonna show his cock if she shows her pussy hole, and that would have been, honestly, that would have been crazy. Like, just think now. Let's think about this again. I'm a 9th grade student. Very suggestive.
First semester, 9th year.
This was first semester. Oh yeah, this is first semester. This is my first taste of Upper Darby, and I'm sitting here being told by a teacher a midget tried to show his cock to her, and I was shook. Just imagine a teacher telling you this.
She was insane.
She was a
not
fucking.
come back to that class.
No, I came.
No, I
to that
looked forward to
class.
that class.
That class was amazing. It was like the best block of my life. I was like, because she was so unpredictable. I swear to God, you literally had no idea. Like, one day she can come dressed up to class in a mask and a cape, and you have no fucking clue.
She would cry like out of nowhere sometimes. I remember we had her together the first semester, and then the second semester I got switched, and there was a time she was talking about, like, I can't even remember what, like, she was complaining that there wasn't enough black teachers for some reason, and the whole time, like, whole 80 minutes, it was just like an ongoing conversation about, like, everything that's wrong with I don't know what. She was crying, students were crying, and then I can't remember if this is the same day or not, but this girl, I'll censor her name, but I gotta say it to you guys.
Oh my fucking
infamous,
god!
The infamous,
The walking orca whale.
You mean
She
the
was-
fucking the school store thief?
She was in that class. I can't remember if it was the same day or not, but she had her head down the whole time. She like sits up, she looks around, and just throws up all over the floor. She threw up right next to one of the softball players in our grade. That was one of the better ones, and the best wrestler in the school, which we all know who he is. She threw up. No, well, she threw up right in between them, and it was just chaos. Just standing there, not knowing what to do. She's like freaking out, of course, like out of her mind. This girl just woke up and threw up everywhere, and I think she like put her head down again afterward.
Doesn't surprise me considering that bitch brings 3 10-course meals to fucking school every day. God damn.
Austin would send me Snapchats of her with all this food out on her
Okay,
table.
listen to me. She was in my engineering 2 class, which was cancerous enough as it is. This bitch pulled out a fucking Ziploc Tupperware container of fucking pork chops at 9:30 in the morning. Who the fuck is eating pork chops at 9:30 in the morning? The whole fucking classroom smells. Then after she's done the pork chop, she pulls out a whole fucking can of Pringles and just devours that shit. I'm surprised she didn't eat the fucking container. It was ridiculous. And then she'd have like a fucking gallon of V8 with her. Like, what?
Hey,
Gotta
at
get
least
the
fruit
fruit
and
and
veg.
God.
Yeah, that's healthy.
How else are you gonna get your fruit and veg?
And your pound of salt.
Oh,
She needs about 15 liposuction surgeries.
oh, goodness
Jesus
me.
Christ.
I added her on Snapchat the other day. It's
I
probably
don't
the
know.
best decision I've ever made.
Snapchat and see who
Huh?
you're talking about.
What?
They can go on your Snapchat now and see who you're talking about.
Nah, no one really. I mean, we're 24 minutes in. If they got this far, then it's a joke. LOL.
Of course they got this far and they watched the whole thing because they love us.
Sure. That does it. Oh, should we explain why we called her Steelfields?
There's no explanation. That is her pen name. You look up Steelfields with a steel with an E at the end of it. You will find Sue Beck's
Alias.
page where she writes about things.
She
and-
never wrote anything on there though. Like she
You don't
had-
know that. I'm gonna look that up right now.
Fair enough. So that was the
Poetry
infamous.
Locksmith, Eye on Life magazine. No,
You
there
on
it
her
is.
profile?
Yeah, there it is. Hub pages.
The Poetry Locksmith. Yeah, this is a.
Can you read her like description, Chuck?
I'm a free spirit, a poet, a teacher, an artist, and a single mother of 2 older kids. A realistic? Yeah, a realist with a soul and a dreamer with a mind. What is you talk? I think outside the box even when I'm in one. I'm crazy, but not enough to be stared at. Weird, but not enough to wear sensible shoes. I'm cool without being trendy. I've been bitten, but I don't bite. I believe in ghosts and life on other planets. I collect rocks, old bottles, cigar boxes.
So she was definitely like on some shit when she wrote
She's
that.
a
I love a good
sociopath.
joke and a good conversation, and my friends are deep thinkers who sing in the shower. I talk to strangers and
How'd she know
break for
that?
yard sales, patronize sidewalk musicians, and draw my inspiration from the passing carnival
Just imagine
of
her
life.
drop kicking
Peace
somebody
out.
playing the guitar on the
Peace
subway,
out. That's what that ends with.
patronizing it.
Peace out. I think I have. Wait. I just remembered this.
There you
Alright,
go.
yeah, there it all. Should I put that as. Or should I put that? I'll put that in the
Peace.
description.
Peace out.
Make that the
Um,
title of the video.
Don't I have. I think I have her phone number.
That,
I don't
That's
remember. Oh, yeah, I do. Oh! Yo!
why?
How did I
That's an
find
inter-
this?
That's an
wait.
inappropriate relationship with a
Oh,
teacher.
because my phone just looked up. How did it do that? It got to the student.upperwsd.org page somehow and found it. Her profile picture. Interesting. Hold on.
She's thick.
Unfortunately not. I'm not posting that picture on the podcast.
Don't be a pussy. Make it the thumbnail.
That'd be kind of funny. I just put it in there. It's the bottom one. Interesting. That's enough of her anyway.
Did any of you guys ever have Miss Rick?
I thought you were gonna say Miss because we were about to fight. Because I did not like that bitch.
Oh, don't. Yo. That's one of my favorite teachers. Yeah, stop playing.
Yeah, I'd cut her fucking head off and put it on a post.
Well, all right then.
I'm not even kidding.
No, Austin, I did not have whoever you just said. I'm not putting that picture in the thing, Brandon. That'd be kind of wild, though, if I made it the thumbnail. Just that picture with nothing else.
Just that Chuck laughing.
Chuck, can you make that your Discord picture?
Yeah, how do I do that? I'm not familiar with this.
You'll figure it out.
Why does she look like somebody from like a crackhead? She looks like a crackhead from Intervention.
She's a crackhead with a...
She is a crackhead.
And
She
he's an intervention.
she told me she did cocaine. I was a student. Okay.
What do you say about the students who get bullied by the teachers? Like, who do you tell when you're being...
Like, who do you tell? Is a good question. Who do you tell? Who do you tell? Tell me right now. There's no one. You can't think of anybody. Like, who are they gonna believe? The student who's chatting shit or the teacher?
Well, that teacher who said that's also kind of insane. He was a wild man.
New
He had
profile.
a rumor about him that how did he lose a nut?
This is listen to
First of all,
me.
it's not a fucking rumor. It's the
Listen to me,
truth.
Jake. Do you know Mr. the older?
No.
You have so much censoring to do.
I know I do. It's good.
That's my
That's why we
voice. He was
Yeah,
for
say it.
home mechanics. He was talking about how you have to be careful around chemicals, and he was like, one day he was telling us about like chemical sheets in like ambulances, and he goes, because if you stick your arms in a substance and it gets all over you, and then your nut falls off one day, and you're a teacher at a really shitty high school, you're gonna want an ambulance people to know about it. Even teachers were making comments about him having one.
I still don't think it's true though.
Yes,
Even the
Mr.
teachers were
Cups-
making comments.
All right, so here's a side.
Why
note,
else would he
though.
waddle like a fucking
I heard
penguin?
he lost her in like lacrosse.
He did lose it in lacrosse, so I was going to tell you. So we, as a lacrosse team, every now and then he was a ref. Okay, he was a ref for lacrosse games.
Oh, boy.
Sometimes.
He didn't just
And
die.
He would trot around the field, call penalties and shit. You know.
Trot.
Anyway, yeah, he
Waddle.
didn't run. He trotted. Anyway, we asked him. Someone on my team literally had the balls to go up there and ask him, like,
He didn't.
how
Got
did you lose your ball? Pretty much along those lines. And he told us about the story how he lost it in a lacrosse game. He was on the floor, on the ground, okay, and got stomped on with a cleat and lost one of his teeth.
What did it just like pop?
It probably blew up. And then he probably like folded instantly, and that's why people wear cups.
That's why he's called. That's why he's called. Anything that word came from.
I don't know, man.
He used to work out with my aunt at the Y.
Hello?
My aunt knows.
Yeah, how well?
I don't know.
They date?
No.
Nice.
It's probably better that he doesn't have any kids, to be fair.
Nah, he's hung.
Is he?
I remember I saw him talking to this like really young hot teacher, and she was just
He's
so
got game.
disgusted by him.
He's got game.
I wouldn't call that game.
Why are you hating on him for?
I promise you. Pretty much he just walks up. He's like, "Listen, you let me hit. There's a 50% less chance that I would get you pregnant. I only got one ball. Can't produce as much semen."
Oh man, what a guy!
But
What
he's
a guy.
hung.
He's hung.
Any other
Promise.
any other stories?
Now when you talking.
Right?
Yeah, keep going on about her. What?
Did anybody here have?
No.
Okay.
Who is that?
She was my freshman math teacher, and one day in the middle of class, I fell asleep in class and I woke up and she was the class had literally convinced her to Google videos of whales that were beached that had exploded.
That sounds terrible.
That's oddly specific.
Yeah, and
Did she find
And
whales that exploded at the beach?
like there was actual videos of it with like the blubber spilling out of their fucking stomach and shit. It was disgusting.
That's what's up.
And then there was another day. I came in late and she was telling a story about how her kid was drinking from a puddle one day and she just let it happen.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
That reminds me of the class I had with the
Oh.
I
forget. I thought we weren't talking about his name.
whatever. I'll just censor it where I want. I mean, he's probably cool with it. I could probably hit him up, be like, "Yo, can I talk about you on my? Can I have you on my podcast?" He'd be like, "Sure, man." Somehow the weirdest kids possible in this class. This class was horrendous on so many different levels. First of all, he didn't know how to teach a class. All the kids in there were insane. They were so weird. They convinced him to put up on the big screen the YouTuber How To Basic, the guy who just plays with food and crap.
Yeah, throws eggs everywhere.
They put him up on the big screen, and he was just like, "What is this?" and watched 5 videos of it, just back to back to back, to back to back. He was interesting. He was kind of cool though. He's weird. He doesn't know how to teach it all, but I mean, he was kind of cool. He's a hardcore rocker. His music is very inspirational.
That's disgusting.
There's videos of him on his YouTube from years ago of him performing at small venues and
Electric
crap.
Factory. Oh.
don't call that shit a concert.
It was a
It's some shitty dive bar in the middle of fucking nowhere. It's not a concert.
Middle East, you bip.
Yo,
Don't chat shit.
he got laid, yo.
Yeah.
He has
Probably
crazy-
used a lot of chloroform to get laid.
All right.
Jesus.
Other than that, any stories we can sum up? Any other wild or interesting ones that come off the top of the head?
Oh.
I saw a baby shower in the cafeteria.
What?
My junior year. There was a full on baby shower in the cafeteria.
Yeah, what'd you bring?
There was balloons and shit. They had a whole cake and everything. It was wild.
I don't know, that sounds like a normal day to me. To be honest, there was lots of balloons and cake.
I hated that. Nobody gives a fuck at your birthday. Go the fuck home.
I did.
They have 17 balloons. Pretty much could just go fly away at this point. They have a tiara on.
Tiara's probably fucking tied into their weave.
Yeah. It's just a part of the weave.
Anyway,
With the weave attached.
there's probably more stories to be brought up at a later point or something. But
Probably shouldn't be brought up ever again.
probably should be, shouldn't be.
Hey.
You never know. This episode is sponsored by Canes. Go to canes.org and use code
King me up,
Shaboozle.
Daddy. Oh.
Use code Shaboozle to get a free umbrella with your order of a cane. This podcast is also sponsored by
Conor McGregor.
the Air Force. This podcast is sponsored by the Air Force. If you're considering going into the service, if you're considering going into the services,
go into the Air Force.
if you're going into the services, go to Air Force.
Be a man.
Brandon, thank you
Go
for
into the
joining me.
Marines.
Brandon, thank you for joining me.
No problem. I'll be here every single time.
Chuck, thank you for joining me.
You're welcome, buddy. I'll come back whenever.
And that's all we have for you today. All right, everyone.
I hope you get fucking chlamydia.